Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Let's bring on those damn players. Looks like we're
It would all
still
be perfect if it weren't for those damn players.
looks like we're still missing a Sam. Everyone enjoying it so far?
Yes, great.
Yeah. I'm enjoying it. Nearly being killed by Winky and the wolf.
Winky and the wolf. Winky and the wolf. It's interesting doing these because it's like constantly, like I'd make a conscious effort to, like, when I'm adapting them, to scrub all the as much of the MMO off them as I can, and then when I run them, I'm like, oh god, that feels really like, oh god, you can tell it's an MMO from that bit. But, I think that's inevitable to a certain degree.
Yeah, it's the exclamation marks over the heads, as Justin was pointing out earlier. That's the
yes,
thing.
although in LOTRO they are rings, so you know, who's the fool now?
Always Justin.
Always. There we go. All right, folks. Let's kick this back off. We were leaving Skunkwood's farm to make our way through the Chetwood to the north to the Blackwolves ruins. And you know what? As you leave, and the more you travel north through the Chetwood, you know that sort of sense of claustrophobic foreboding. I was talking about, well, it's getting even worse the more you travel through to the north part of the Chetwood. The warmth of the summer sun does not penetrate the branches and foliage overhead, as perhaps the more of you less used to cold, maybe the hobbits, maybe herb rushlights start to shiver slightly in the shadows being cast overhead, and it's quite unpleasant. Is there anything in particular we want to be kind of doing on this journey in the way we did last time?
What time of day is it? Presumably the darkness from the trees rather than it's night.
Actually becoming quite difficult to tell right now, although your innate sense of timing tells you only left like Combe in like maybe the early afternoon, so it can't be any more than like mid-late afternoon, and it's summer. The sun must still be in the sky, but you can't really tell from here.
Is it the sort of thing that if I could, I would light a torch? I'm not sure if I would be carrying one, but
it seems it would seem inappropriate to do so, but also it would stop you stumbling on some stuff underfoot. I'm not sure if you would have a torch on you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I probably wouldn't have thought to bring one anyway, so I wish I had a torch.
Absolutely.
I'll just be on the lookout for, especially as it feels like we're getting closer, looking out for any of the animals.
Absolutely. You don't see any dead animals scattered around here. From what Ellie described, it sounds like they're within the ruins themselves, but you can absolutely keep an eye out. And then after probably about another hour or so of tramping through the Chetwood, quite a ways to the north, you suspect as far north essentially as the Chetwood goes, the trees start to space out again, and ahead of you see the sky. It's still a summer sky, but it seems kind of oddly overcast, and darkened clouds are now present, racing across. That definitely weren't there before. Ahead of you stands a ruin, still and calm and quite large, lurching over this area of the Chetwood. You can hear the distant kind of noise of people going about some kind of business on the interior of it. And ahead of you, by a very large tree outside the front of this ruin, stands a lone figure, having seemingly not noticed you yet, sort of leaned up against a rock. If anything, from this distance, you suspect looking quite bored.
Okay, so some sort of guard over there. Is there a way that we can go up that hill to get a better vantage on it and maybe see if we can see any of the animals, or a location where maybe animals might be kept? Or
you could certainly see if you want, but that hill is nowhere near the height of those walls. surrounding the ruin, and you can't see any gaps in those ruined walls apart from that archway you can see in kind of dead ahead center.
Which would be why you put a guard there.
You'd imagine.
So
You can get closer and take a look for sure. You might notice something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go and get a bit closer. I will happily volunteer to go up and sneak up to see what I can find.
Want to sneak up and see?
Mm-hmm.
I will offer to go with both, though, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Absolutely.
I'll stay back here, but not because I'm scared.
Well, then, why don't you both give me a stealth roll? That's a good face.
I rolled
Sam
almost entirely ones on all of those dice.
Oh no!
So I it's a favored one for me. So I rolled the 2 d12s, and one of them was a 1, and the other one was a Sauron. So the better roll is the 1.
Yeah, I got a 2 and a 1 on my rerolls of the 12. So,
so yeah, I fail.
Okay.
Also fail.
Okay. So Otho and Ingrid, you split off from everyone else, and we mentioned that kind of rise to the left on that image. So you kind of go up that rise and sort of try and creep round to get a better view inside of the ruin. And as you do so, let's roll a die to see which one of you fucks up more. Otho, you accidentally step on the tail of a fox, which gives a great shrieking noise, snaps at you, and dashes off through the underbrush. The Blackwold on guard, out leaning on that rock, kind of looks dead on at you and kind of takes a few steps forwards. He puts his hand on like a hand axe at his side, but doesn't kind of draw it yet, and says, "Oi, what are you doing? What are you doing over there?" Herb, can you roll awareness for me, please?
Okay.
Or alertness, whatever it is.
I think Otho will just shout, "Hunting!" and then kind of move off to the side a bit.
I
Awkwardly.
got a Sauron
Okay.
on my awareness check.
Okay, never mind then. Go on, get away from here.
Yeah, I'll just do as he says and behave like I'm like, "Oh, sorry," and then just walk off to the bushes away. Presuming he hasn't noticed Ingrid.
Oh, he's noticed Ingrid as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're
Both
together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that and get a distance away and then loop back to the group.
Are you doing the same, Ingrid?
I was going to say, I mean, if he spotted us anyway, I was just lean into it. Hunting. We've really been struggling to find anything. Don't suppose, is this a good spot for? I mean, rabbits would be lovely, but anything really? What would be in the woods?
Look, don't make me come over there. I'll come over there, and you'll get this axe. He kind of draws his axe and kind of hefts it aloft. Herb, can you take an awareness roll, please, and take an extra 2 dice for it?
Is this something that
Still a fail. Oh
Just
my
like-
God.
I rolled a
Like
1
they
on my
could see?
regular. I got 14 and my target number is 17. So
Okay. Sorry, what were you saying, Justin?
I was just saying, is this something anyone else could see, or is it just Herb who could?
If it was, I'd be asking other people
Sorry,
to
yeah.
do it as well.
there's something sneaking up on me, but Herb is just whistling to himself, totally fine.
What are you doing about it, Ingrid?
I don't need to be unfriendly. I was just trying to get myself some dinner. I don't know if he's approaching, but I'm happy for him to approach me.
He is,
I'm not
he is
gonna
approaching you,
walk
and
away.
he's like he's sort of hefting that axe. He does. Can you roll insight though?
Sure. What is my insight? Okay. I'm rolling very badly at the moment. Is that no, I fail.
Oh my God.
It's not going to happen, is it, Matt?
Okay, yeah, he's walking towards you, and he's like, he's not rushing you, but he is holding that axe aloft.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy for him to approach me. I'm Look, if this is your patch, it's fine. I've maybe got a bit muddled up. I'm new to town. If you could just point me in the right direction, that would be
this is
amazing.
Black Wall territory. Go on, get out of here.
Sorry, what territory? I've not heard of this Black Wall.
He's close enough now that I think you can take an awareness roll.
Okay.
I'm begging someone to spend hope on this.
How much is hope like is it like a meta player thing to do versus like a character thing? Because my
Yeah, we
awareness
make
is
the
terrible. I will fail this roll
You make the
without it,
choice.
unless I get
It's
rolled
up
a
to you.
Gandalf.
It's up to you.
Yeah,
Are you still?
I'm
hanging
with
around?
Ingrid, yeah, so I can make an awareness roll.
Or you can also make an awareness roll, or you could support by spending a hope and throwing it.
Yeah, so I roll. I don't have any points in awareness. So that's just a feat die and a roll
Otho, do
2.
you?
So
Yeah, I have many points in awareness.
Okay,
And I'm gonna
let's
spend
have
a hope.
Otho roll it then.
I'm gonna spend a
Okay,
hope.
we're gonna spend a hope as well. There we
Yes.
go. There we go.
I'm still rolling so bad. Oh my god.
we're gonna slaughter your son.
Still didn't make it. Even with my reroll on my thing and 3 this is ridiculous. It's not meant to be,
Jesus
apparently.
Christ.
I got 14. Needs 17.
Okay, well, he's there and he's yelling at you. Like, at a certain point, you suspect he'll stop yelling at you and either start hitting you or run away to get some friends.
Yeah, I think I might attack him, given I think he's a Blackwalled without any other cause, given the context.
Yeah, I wouldn't make the first move, but I'm more than happy. Like if he's going to attack us, like I would then defend myself and so on. But essentially I'm happy to, if we're spotted.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not even looking to see if the guys are doing anything else, but I'm hoping that they're looking.
I need to get a word in here. So Otho, I'm reluctant to just throw another roll out there. This is the last fucking roll I'm making before you cut down Rem Rushlight. Can you let's have you roll insight. Otho Mucklefoot.
I don't want to spend another hope. It's kind of important, so I think I will. This is for you, Herb.
I appreciate it.
Well, how much of a fuss you made about how obvious it would be and how like you look. Even you can't recognize.
Well, I rolled a 1 on my D12.
My boy.
I'm too short on my target number, even with a hope spend. It really wasn't meant to be.
Oh well,
I appreciate the effort.
Okay.
That was 5 or 6 failed rolls, wasn't it?
He is fairly reluctant to actually make the first hit. So Otho, just roll attack.
Yeah.
Roll your attack on him of whatever weapon you're using.
Yeah. Well,
and he's his parry his parry's flat, so it's you go ahead.
Sure. Well, I fail. I was going to go neutral anyway for the combat stance.
Okay. You basically swing at him and he kind of like jumps back with a whoa, and is kind of flailing at you with that hand axe, not particularly competently. At this point, do we think Herb, Winky, and Leeknir might start approaching the situation?
Yes.
Okay. Within the amount of time it takes for you to approach the situation, Herb, Otho Mucklefoot is currently swinging a very nasty, sharp axe at your son.
What are you doing to my boy?
What are you doing to my boy that I didn't recognize?
Repeatedly.
Hey, I was far away.
You were far away. Otherwise, obviously, I wouldn't have made you roll if you were like. He is your boy. He is a lot leaner than he used to be, but still has recognizably kind of like slightly gingery brown hair and sort of scrubby goatee beard. And he's dressed in very bad clothes. I was kind of expecting you to maybe talk with him because I thought you might recognize your son, or someone might recognize him. But here he is. This isn't the situation he's in, but that's what he looks like anyway. And he kind of like turns round and kind of, his eyes widen and he goes, "Da, get this hobbit off me!"
Yeah, get away from my son.
I'm going to stop fighting at this point and just step back like...
I will sort of say, "Son, you're okay. and I'll just sort of I'm going to go in attempting to hug this man with an
Sure.
axe.
He's not going to let you hug him, and is in fact going to step away and sort of prod at you with the end of the axe, which wouldn't do any damage, and say, "No, you look. What did Ma send you to find me?"
No, she thought you'd be all right on your own, but I was worried. Okay,
Well,
I didn't.
I don't care. I've never been good at anything in my life, but I found something I could do and do right good. I'm not going back.
Son, you don't understand. This is not a place for you. Let's get away from here. Let's go home. This is not. This is a dark place.
I'm not going to abandon my friends.
They're not your friends, son. Look, they're just using you. You're a good boy. Look, you don't have to come home, but you can't stay here.
Could you make me a I'm going to give you a chance. I'm guessing you don't have shit in Persuade.
I have 2 in Persuade.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what then?
Cool.
Give a Persuade roll.
It turns out that being very bad at strength means I'm good at.
You do have some other things. And obviously, like, if you want to spend hope, this seems a moment to do it, maybe. Does anyone also want to support Herb by kind of...
Yeah, I'll chime in.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, we'll spend that hope then to support.
Okay.
So you take an extra die there, Herb. Is it a favored skill by any chance?
It's not a favored skill.
Not. Okay.
But
But your hope and Winky's hope means you get 2 extra dice on it.
So I ordinarily would have 2, and instead I have 4.
Mm-hmm.
So let's roll. Yes. Okay. Despite rolling quite badly, I got an 18, which is above my target number. So success.
Is your wits 2?
My wits is 6, and my target number is 14.
Oh, I thought you said 18.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, 14.
So,
I got 18.
That's a lot better. Yeah.
I hit my
gotcha.
target
Winky, how are you helping this situation? I am genuinely fascinated to know.
I'm probably just going to chime in that these guys aren't that good. You listen to your dad. My own son, he's a troublemaker, but I've gotten him out of more scrapes than I care to mention. I'd listen to your dad on this one.
Your son, Frodo? No. But I do want to know more about Winky's son. He kind of like prods you back a bit and then visibly kind of like deflates and says, "Oh, you're right. My friends were all right. But there's things going on here I don't want no truck with.
Yes,
I don't want to go home, Dad. It's nothing happens."
I mean, look, I'm sorry, boy. I realize that this is my fault. Sometimes when you hold on to something too tightly, it ends up getting away from you. And I care about you, and that's why I am the way I am. But you can be your own man. Just that doesn't mean taking any path.
Right. I won't go home, but I'll go back. I'll go back to Combe. I'll maybe get a bit of work in the lumber camp.
Yeah, I can put in a good word, or you can do it yourself entirely.
I'll talk to him myself, Dad. Don't you?
Yep. This is difficult for me. Ooh.
Or all the rest of us just stood around awkwardly.
It's so good seeing you, even if we're not hugging anymore.
You can hug me a bit.
And I go in for the second hug. You don't need to ask me.
He kind of drops the hand axe in the dirt and says, "It's all right, Dad. It's all right. I'm all right."
Yeah, you are. You are.
I'll go back. Are you going back?
There's just a couple of things we've got to do. We've heard about some of the stuff that's going on here, and it don't sound good.
Dad, you've got your spear and your axe with you.
Yeah. Perhaps you can help us. We're here to. There's a guy called Jagger Jack.
I know him.
And perhaps Captain Skunkwood.
Skunkwood's not here. He's in his hideout. But you're gonna kill Jack?
That may have been our intent.
He kind of
Unless you
looks
can-
around and kind of clocks for the first time. All of you are like,
Yeah, just
and one of you is like a massive thug type with a, like Ingrid's got her armor as well, and he goes, "Bloody hell! Look, I got no love for that Jagger Jack, nor those he takes time with. As long as you don't hurt any of my friends, I'll take you to him, and I could do it. I could do it with no one being any the wiser."
that would be amazing, son. Just yeah.
They're in the far part of the ruins, where most of us don't like to go. I'll take you there. Just don't talk to anyone, all right?
I trust you.
And
We all
one's
trust
gonna-
you.
All right, let's look. Just follow my lead. All right, I could do this. I could do this.
Of course you can, son.
He sort of swallows, bends over, and picks up that hand axe again, and starts walking forward into the ruins. I assume we are going with him.
I make meaningful eye contact with everyone, being like, "We're trusting my boy, even though I may have told you several stories about how he's a fool,
Shiftless and useless he is.
No,
Ignore all those
totally on board.
stories.
I'm totally just thrilled and totally just like, yeah, I knew he'd be okay.
It's the best plan we got.
Otho is not entirely on board, and if there's a possibility to slink away at some point, might do so. But we'll follow for now.
Okay.
You're at the back or
Um,
something.
So you walk through that stone archway as a group, and in front of you, this is what you see: wreckage and ruin stretching off around you. More black walls than you can comfortably immediately count, all sat around, eating, sleeping, carrying out target practice with some bows. That is the scene kind of as you look to the right, as you look to the left, you can see again more ruins stretching out, but these ones crumbling towers that long ago stood, if Torridan is to be believed, guard against the very depredations that are even now going on deep within those walls. And as you stride forward in the direction that Rem is leading you, over to the right, past all these black walls, he calls out, "New recruits! Even got some hobbits! Look at that! Hobbits with weapons!" A couple of the Blackwolves near him kind of like, they mostly ignore him, in all honesty, and just kind of glance over him and shake their heads. A couple of them kind of nod. One of them steps a bit forward and says, "What, did they just came to the archway?" And Rem says, "No, someone brought them and then walked off." He kind of looks over at you with like
Can I pipe up with it? It was Ellie Cutleaf.
It was Ellie Cutleaf. The Blackwold seems to be satisfied with this and nods and says, "All right, take him through." Rem kind of looks down at you, Winky, and kind of goes, "Thanks." Living up to your name there. and you walk forward past the gathered black walls. And as you do so, that claustrophobic feeling you got in the forest closes in on you once again. You approach this second archway leading deeper into the ruins. Columns standing up on either side of you like lurching figures watching you pass. The clouds seem to darken overhead and roil past with an unnatural speed as you walk through into the back half of these ruins. It takes you a couple of minutes to get away from the noise and bustle of the black walls behind you before Rem turns and says, Dad, I'll go with you if you want, but I'll be honest, I don't rightly know how to use this axe, and I'm quite scared, Dad.
No, don't go no further. You've already done more than enough. Thanks to you, we've made it here. So just
Look,
go back to the arch and then head to the lumber mill.
When you're done, go to the south here, the south walls. There's a gap in them. There's a gap in them. You can squeeze through.
Ah, perfect. Maybe we'll meet you there.
I'll wait out there. I'll wait out there. And he kind of dashes off to the south. When you look round from where you are, there is a rise leading up to what looks like a sunken patch flush against a cliff face, above which is like scattered trees at the very edge of the Chetwood. Within that sunken space seem to be a number of dead and blackened trees, but you can only kind of see the rise. You can't see what's down there. Also around you, the reek of decaying animal is everywhere. As you can see in front of you, a sheep that seems to have been full of sickening wounds, maybe cut down by men or by wolves. You can't really tell, but a number of these corpses are around the place.
Do we think this is the food we're supposed to poison?
Yeah, and any of the corpses we need to poison. So I think Winky will probably start rushing about doing that as quietly as possible, just in case I'm disturbing anything.
Absolutely. What do we think is a good role for how to best put poison in things? I think either insight or hunting or lore. I'm going to allow any of those, Winky. Lore for you, I'm guessing.
I'll gladly go for the lore, please.
Sure.
Any rhymes about poisoning sheep carcasses?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not going to allow that old rhymes of lore, but you can make a good old lore roll.
Yeah, I make that easily, and I've got a 6 as well.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I'm going to say then for that you managed to go around and there's the body of a sheep, there's some cattle, there's a deer, and you manage. It's not really learned information, but your gut feeling is to put it on the unwounded areas of the animal, the less rotted areas that maybe the wolves will sink their teeth into more. And you leave traces of poison on all those corpses. You can barely even smell the hemlock over the sickly stench of the decaying animals as you do so. And you know what? With that extra success, I would say you've got just a little bit of poison left at the end of the vial after you've done that.
Lovely.
None of the black walls seem to be. The black walls are definitely staying on the other side of this archway you've come through. And all you can see around you can see some broken, rubbled wall to the south, presumably where Rem managed to make his escape. And to the northeast of where you are is that sunken hollow over which you can only see kind of the tops of blackened trees. And now that you're a little closer to it, actually a faint greenish glow against the overcast sky.
Yeah, I guess we'll just maybe try and proceed a bit more quietly now and see what we see.
Absolutely. You can stalk up that rise and just take a peek over the edge of it, although you suspect any kind of like sustained, looking would quickly attract attention. Within it, you see a circle of blackened and deadened trees, and in the center of that, some kind of stone monument has been set up with red silk wrapped around it and an odd green glowing smoke drifting off the top. To one side is a large bonfire by which sits a more elaborately dressed Blackwell than you've seen elsewhere, with a wolf at his side. Over on the other is some kind of small, horribly polluted-looking pond with two men in dark red robes knelt by it, performing some kind of activity. They are very, very notably not the red-robed figures you saw in Archet. But having said that, something about this entire scene sends obscene chills through all of you, and I am going to need you all to give me a valor roll to fight off dread, please.
That's just target number heart, right? Hope.
It is indeed heart, yeah.
I fail.
I also fail.
Okay.
Yeah, I fail as well.
Sorry, do we get? Is it just the D12 for?
No, you will get a die for your valor as well.
So
Oh, just the one. All right, so I've got a note that says valor is favored. So does that mean I've got two
Okay.
D12 and I take
Yep.
higher?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Can we spend hope doing this, or is that
You
not-
absolutely can spend hope to do it.
I
Yes.
think I will spend hope doing this.
I've already failed, so I won't do that.
So the target number is the heart target. Yeah, I know that's a fail for me as well.
Nope,
Okay.
failed.
So everyone who has, if you have succeeded, then you don't take any shadow. If you have failed, take one shadow.
What in the gods?
The individuals there have not seen you yet, but they definitely will unless you attack like right now.
Do we have time for a volley?
You will once
Yeah.
once you decide to attack. Yes.
I think my distinctive
Yeah.
feature is either at that and that shadow thing. I just charge down the hill.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing
I've got
Otho
whole-
moving.
I'm
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, right. Well, let's get those opening volleys off then, please. So that is going to be. Is everyone getting an opening volley on this one? Are people like throwing spears and stuff, or
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not
you
really
fight with
throwing
your
a spear.
spear, don't you? So okay, so
Yeah.
that's everyone. All right, let's do bows first, just because I like doing bows first.
Is it just one volley?
It's just one volley, yes.
Cool. Can I make a battle roll instead?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. I think that's a great time to do that. Okay, so we've got two bows and a spear to throw then. So let's go. I'm just going to go pick these in order of cams because why not? Let's go from. So Otho, are you throwing that spear?
Yeah. Can I get a bonus for my eager distinctive feature?
I mean that depends on whether you're spending hope on it or not.
Kind of low.
I'd say it probably doesn't particularly count, but
Okay, I won't.
because everyone's doing it, so why are you eager? You see what you get what I mean?
That makes sense.
Are you throwing your spear at Jagger Jack, either of the red robed figures, or at the wolf?
I think the wolf. I don't like wolves.
Okay, don't like wolves.
Nope. No, did not hit.
Did not hit. That is fine. Okay, Winky, are you? Are you firing a bow, or are you preparing a shot?
I think I'm just going to prepare a shot. So that's just a scan roll.
Sure, absolutely. In that case, Ingrid, who are you firing your bow at?
Jagger Jack, and I spent a hope point, and I succeeded, and I got a 6.
Okay, well, before you say that, because I do need to give you his. I believe he does have a parry rating. So let me
I rolled a
just double-
21 overall.
Okay, and what was your target number?
60. No, sorry, 15.
Yeah. You definitely hit him. Okay, so you said you rolled a 6 as well. So
I'll go for the
Jagger-
the heavy blow thing.
the heavy blow. Yeah. So so the damage of your bow is
4, and my strength is 5.
Okay, yeah. Your arrow arcs across the clearing, like it's almost difficult to see it after it leaves a while because it feels so dark and repressive in here. But kind of Jagger Jack kind of catches sight of you on the edge of this rise over this sunken hollow, and goes to kind of stand up from the bonfire, and then reels back with a Rah! With your arrow in his breast, and kind of staggers back, draws a wicked looking short sword, and gives an inarticulate cry that sends his wolf bounding forward. The I mean, we all know the Angmarim stand up and wheel round, drawing hatchets of their own and charge forwards. So we're getting to engagement time, folks. I'm assuming that Winky is the only one staying in rearward here. In which case, each of you get an enemy. So let's roll between them to see who attacks what. Let's roll for Jack first. You know what? In fact, I'm not going to roll for Jack. Jack is going to charge Ingrid because Ingrid fired an arrow at him. That seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to happen. Let's see who gets the wolf out of the remaining 3 of you. Leiknir gets the wolf, which means the Angmarim come charging at Herb and Otho. There we go. So, stance time. Obviously, Winky's in rearward. Put your hands up if you're in forward. So, Ingrid is in forward. Who is in open? Herb and Leiknir are in forward, which means Otho is in defensive.
I've been spooked.
Been spooked. Yes, that makes sense. So, Ingrid, you are in forward. So why don't you take a swing at Jagger Jack? His parry is a +1, so just add 1 to your target number is just 1 higher.
I think I will spend another hope to get an extra die again.
Sounds good.
And my target is now 16. I rolled a Sauron.
Oh, brutal stuff.
So that's just a 0. So but I rolled. What did I roll overall? 12 overall. So it doesn't. Yeah, without that, yeah.
Doesn't get it. Okay then. So Jagger Jack bounds towards you with kind of a wolf-like sort of gait and animalistic speed that belies like the arrow in the shoulder. Sorry.
So is the Sauron an automatic fail, or is it just you don't get any numbers to add to that?
Well,
Because I actually realized I needed to roll. Is it just like 0 on the feet die? Because I actually should have had an extra D6 because I'm on forward. So I'm on 12.
Yeah.
16, so actually I will roll my extra one just in case that does do something.
Yeah. It just counts as a 0. It's not 12, an automatic fail.
15. No, it gives me 15 overall, and with the +1, it's a 16. I was so close. One of them was a 6 as well. Never mind.
Well, then there we go. He, as I say, bounds forward with an animalistic gait and kind of like the wolf, weirdly reminiscent of the wolf. In fact, slams into your shield and sends you kind of like back a bit, kind of like wailing at you with his short sword. He doesn't get his attack in yet, but he will do later. So then we've got the 2 open people, Leiknir and Herb. Who's going first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
And I'm going to Rally Comrades, which is I make an Enhearten roll as my main action. So I am going to, that's just Enhearten. So that's 2 dice. And I think I'm going to spend a hope in order to do this.
Sure, absolutely.
So I get an extra dice. And yeah, I'll just roll it.
Mm-hmm.
I make it, and I got 1 6. So the effect of that is that in the next round, anyone in forward or open stance gets a +1 dice on their attack rolls.
That's pretty good. Do you want to describe your enheartening?
So I think I just say, let's show Jack what we're made of.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. Okay, so everyone in forward and open gets an extra die on top of any of the bonuses they get next round. Leiknir, you have a wolf charging you, friend. It has flat parry, so...
I miss.
You miss. In that case, yeah, the wolf. Do you have a shield?
I do have a shield.
You do have a shield. Well, the wolf is scrabbling at it and trying to tug it off at you with its fangs, and your sword blow goes wild. Otho, you have an Angmarim charging you. Don't forget to deduct a die for defensive.
Yep, indeed. Oh, that's a good roll, though. Yeah, I make it.
Oh, well, actually, let me check if the Angmarim have.
Oh, I'm dead on. So.
You're dead on. They have +1 parry.
What? Just what? Oh, that's painful. Okay, well, doesn't matter. It was close.
Okay. This is with your axe, right? Yeah, your axe swing goes wide as the Angmarim make contact with you. So, Winky, your prepared shots to save the day on an otherwise non-damage first round.
I did not make my scan roll, so I don't get the extra
Just a
dice.
normal shot.
But,
Okay.
yeah,
well,
I'm going to
who are
use
you
a
firing
hope,
at?
though.
Okay.
I'm aiming for Jack.
Okay.
That's our target. So
He doesn't have any
aim for Jack.
extra. He doesn't have any extra parry. Oh no, he has +1 parry, so it's going to be 1 higher target number.
Okay. I'm spending a hope. So
Yeah. We'll see.
No.
So the arrow from Winky goes wide in the blackened hollow. Here's we go. This is because the wolf fight went too easy. That's what
It's
this
dark.
Yeah.
It's the valor. We all failed our valor rolls.
is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's the thing. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of attacks on you to go then. So I'm going to go again in order. So it was forward on Ingrid, and it's Jack, which means he gets an extra
An
die.
extra D6.
Yeah. In attack on you, and that's his thing. What's your parry?
16.
It's pretty high. But his roll is pretty high. In fact, he rolls a piercing blow. Does it hit? It does hit. So we're going to need to check for whether you're wounded, Ingrid. So what I need from you is a protection roll. And that is against a target difficulty of 16. So your protection should be on your value, should be on your sheet somewhere. Yeah, so basically it's your armor's protection, should be listed, plus your helm if you have it.
Yes. So this is quite a lot of dice. All right. So it's the feat die plus the protection. Oh, right. So I've got that's 5 D6s to
Oh
add.
wow, have you got 5? How much is your
So
armor?
I've got coat of mail, so which is I've got listed as a 4D,
Mm-hmm.
and then the helm is 1.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the feat die. Yeah. Everything's
yeah.
plus the feat die.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not high rolls. So what is this? 2, 4, 6, 12 total.
That is not enough. So sadly, you are wounded. That doesn't basically what you need to do is roll on the wound severity table. Now using a feat die. So yeah, just roll a feat die and see what it says.
That's a 4 on the feat die.
Okay, that's not too bad. So basically, that means that your injury will take 4 days to mend. You're not knocked out of the thing or anything like that. All it means is you're wounded. That wound will take 4 days to mend. That's all we need to know for now in this combat. What that means narratively is that Jack kind of like gets his sword around the edge of your shield and wrenches it to one side and drives the point of his short sword into your hip, which pierces the male coat. He lets out a kind of horrible snarl as he does so, and you can smell the rotten meat coming off his breath as he kind of like reels back from you with a cry, and you have a horrible suspicion that the wolves aren't the only ones feasting on those corpses. Yeah, you're bleeding quite badly, but you are still standing and able to fight. Okay, time for the open people. Leapnir, let's have the wolves attack on you. What is your parry rating, please?
Parry rating is 19.
Ooh, pretty high.
I don't
Pretty
like getting
high.
hit.
And it is high enough. The wolf snaps at you but misses. Herb Rushlight, what is your parry rating, please?
16.
60. That is not good enough, I am afraid. Fortunately, that weapon they have does not have any special attacks, so it will just be the flat damage because they can't use like special attacks unless they're listed, I believe. And that damage is 5 to your endurance, please, as an axe swings and crashes into your armor and scrapes across it but leaves you bruised underneath. Does that drop your endurance below your load by any chance?
It doesn't. I went from 23 to 18.
Cool. That's fine.
Does my armor apply in any way? Or
no.
is that only
armor only applies to piercing blows, and whether you fight off a wound or not. Yeah. Because endurance is meant to be how tired you are and how battered you are rather than, and don't forget you can also drop your load by, like, if you have a weapon you're not using, you can cast it aside or
throwing away your helmet.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Okay, and then finally we have Otho Mucklefoot, and the Angmarim is going to swing for you, and I'm removing a die because you're in defensive.
Yeah.
What's your parry?
19.
Ooh, quite high again. And they do not get that, so they swing and miss. Right, next round. What stances are we on? With the asterisk that if you're forward or open, you get an extra die on a strike.
Go forward.
Forward.
I'll remain open.
I'm gonna stay forward.
Open.
Sorry, also Matt, I just did I missed or just didn't write down I noted down that my piercing, my injury. Did I always have to knock something off my endurance?
No.
No, it's
yeah.
just the injury.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. But not much. It's
I think it was 12. I think I rolled.
It is only 2.
2. Cool. Thanks.
It's only 2 endurance. It's only a short sword, so it doesn't do much damage. But it only did because it stabbed you with it. But in endurance, it's only 2. So okay, so that's that. So everyone is forward apart from Otho, who's open. Was that right? Or Herb, are you open?
I'm open.
You're open. Okay. Well, we'll deal with the forward people first. Let's deal with the unwounded person first. I don't know why. So Leapnir, do you want to make an attack on the wolf? And because you're forward, you now have +2 dice.
Yeah. So I'm rolling 5 success dice, and I rolled for a piercing wound, and I got an extra Tengwar.
Whoa. Okay. Well, let's deal with that piercing wound first, shall we? So the protection on the wolf is only 1. What's the injury of your weapon?
16.
16. Well, it rolled a Gandalf, so that's a non-starter. So yeah, Leapnir. Why don't you? I'm always the person to describe combat stuff, but I want to let people describe a bit for themselves. So
I think
kill this thing,
Leapnir, seeing Ingrid, the fellow barding, take a wound, just decides to savagely attack the wolf, so that he can move to help support everyone else, and just kind of throws his shield aside and gets a big open slash, leaving himself exposed at the wolf. But luckily, wolf's down.
I'm assuming that throwing the shield aside is not mechanically.
Not mechanically, just kind of like he's not doing it.
Yeah.
He's forward.
Yeah, you're just slashing forwards. Yeah, you cut through the wolf almost through its neck, almost to the spine, and it crumples to the side and rolls off against one of those blackened trees in the hollow, completely and utterly dead. Okay, Ingrid, you are also in forwards. Why? Oh, Herb is also forward, but we'll go with Ingrid.
I was open. Sorry.
You are open. Sorry. Okay, Ingrid. A normal roll, but add 2 dice to it, and it's going to be against your target number with a +1.
I'm also going to spend another hope to get another extra die.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, just go all in. Hopefully. Okay, that does hit, but there's no special anythings on the die.
And it
But
doesn't.
it is
It
a
doesn't
17
pierce.
overall.
And it doesn't pierce.
No, Pierce would just be
A 10 or a Gandalf on the feet
that's a
die.
10. No, it's just an 8. There's no specials, anything, no 6s, no.
But your damage is
Yeah.
4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you, with a sickening grin, Jagger Jack comes in for you again, raising his short sword kind of overhead in both hands to chop down. At this, like, obviously you've had limited training, but you have had training, and you cast your mind back to your uncle. I'm making this up. Feel free to ignore it. Your uncle, from when you were very young, showing you exactly what to do if a man comes at you with a weapon raised overhead. You strike out with your shield, so it crunches against his chin, and then stab forwards. And the pain from that wound in your hip leaves you frozen in place for a few seconds, anticipating the blow coming down on your back, before you realize that Jagger Jack is frozen on the end of your blade, with it through his throat, shuddering slightly and letting out a soft, whimpering, animal-like mewl before sliding off and crashing to the ground. Jagger Jack is dead. Yeah.
Nice.
Only leaving the two horrible fearsome Angmarim. So her brushlight, why don't you give us an attack against them? That is a parry of +1, and you gain an extra die for being in open, given you're in heart and stuff.
So I'm going to spend a hope in order to add an additional dice on top of that +1.
We'll
so
double check. I know I'm being fussy here, but we'll actually double check that Hearten also gives you. It says all members of the company.
It does,
so
yeah,
yes. Yeah. That's fine.
So I'm rolling 5 success die, and I met my target number, and I got 27 in total, so it's like well over.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 2 6s,
Whoa.
which means I can spend it on some additional things.
This is your spear, right? So
yeah, it's my spear.
The first thing I'd say is, what did you roll on your feet die?
On my feet die, I rolled 8, so I could pierce.
You can absolutely pierce, because you'll get +3 on your feet die for a spear if you use pierce, and then you could maybe spend the other one on heavy blow if that doesn't do anything. But I'd say first off, let's see what this pierce does, because
let's do the pierce.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is the injury on your spear?
So the injury on my spear is I believe it's 14/16, so that means I think it's 16.
One, or if it's one or two-handed. If you're using it one or two-handed.
I think I'm using it two-handed.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's fine.
I'm not holding my axe in the other hand, or.
Well then, so her brushlight. How are you fight? Tell me how you're fighting.
I think I'm mostly trying to keep the guy at a distance. By using the spear, just making it a very awkward target, and then I'm waiting for the right moment when he's like running at me to maybe then plant the spear in the ground. And
absolutely,
yeah.
You've been watching Simbaroom, so he hasn't. So you do this. The Angmarim kind of like circles you. He is spitting something at you. A weird cant of a language that you've never heard before, where the way in which he's talking almost sounds like a chant in the way he's saying it. Maybe it's some kind of obscene war cry or not, but the words that come out almost don't seem like they could come out of a human's mouth. They send like a shudder through you as this individual says that, and then they dive forwards, clearly seeing the fear on your face, but that fear does not stop you from carrying out what you were trained to do when you were fighting younger. You brace the spear against your back foot and lower it just at the right time. The spear pierces the Angmarim's breast, and at first you're not even sure if you've caused such a grievous wound, because you cannot see the red of the blood as it flushes out across that red robe, and with a kind of an uncomfortable realization that those robes are exactly the color of blood, as the Angmarim kind of waits over and topples your spear to one side. He's dead. See, this is what I like about LOTRO. It has this kind of like crunchy, like I hit you, you hit me, like battering each other down. But when something hits, it is brutal, which I really like. Otho.
Yeah.
We have you against the Angmarim. You are in open.
Yep.
So take an extra die.
Yep.
And
the
their
hope as
parry is
well.
at +1, so your target number is one higher.
Okay, cool. Gandalf.
Hey!
So
So
that's
that's another piercing blow.
And
So
I got a
let's,
Tengwar as well.
And you got a Tengwar as well. Let's deal with the piercing blow first. What's the injury on your axe?
It is 18.
Yeah.
That's
Wow,
tough.
that's pretty high.
Actually saying
so,
it's injury, yeah.
yeah. It's kind of why they don't have many special moves and stuff.
They're not so good for other things.
If you do get a piercing blow, they're like pretty bad. Right, okay. So we've gone from one kind of a round to another one. The Angmarim gives out a cry again in a language you do not understand, and honestly do not particularly care to understand, and dives forward at the diminutive figure in front of him. He's made that classic error, Otho. He's underestimated a hobbit. And you drop even further down on one knee and with all your might kind of circle the axe above your head and leave it swinging round. It cleaves through his leg just above the knee, and he staggers forward for a second, gushing blood out on this blackened earth, and crumples to the ground in front of you. He looks up at you and kind of reaches out with one almost taloned hand towards you and just says something in an unpleasant, crackly voice before collapsing on the ground. You've killed them all.
Always the same fighting tall folk.
Bear that in mind.
I definitely give you a side eye at that moment. I think we may have made a bit of noise. So shall we try and make? Oh,
Shall we? What do we do about this? Should we do something about this?
what is that? Yeah.
Can we all roll awareness, please? Just put your hand up if you succeed. Winky succeeds. Anyone else? No. Okay. As the others are talking, Winky, you're kind of looking at this structure in front of you and kind of blinking. You see that kind of like almost furnace-like interior of it where a fire is raging and somehow sending green smoke gently drifting up against the sickly sky. That's you get the unpleasant sensation that fire roared higher each time someone died in this clearing. And that odd rune marked on the front of the stone there is now glowing intensely. You didn't really understand what it was before, but somehow now, unconsciously and unwillingly, you are overwhelmed with the impression that it is a crown.
Okay. I also got a 6, by the way, on my success. So if I get any additional,
no, there's. Oh well, here's the additional thing. You probably want to leave.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, let's go. Well, do I think that attempting to destroy the structure is an awful idea? And
No,
I should just
you
leave
don't
right
think
now?
that, but you don't think that, but you are overcome with a like growing sense of dread and the awareness that, like, again, yeah, you all made a load of noise.
Okay,
So-
yeah, I'm just going to say to the group, yeah, that thing is bad. Let's go now.
Yeah. I worry that there are powers beyond our ken.
Hobbling already over. Holding
Oh, yeah.
my...
Can I do a
Inga?
healing roll on Ingrith, noticing the bleeding and the hobbling now? Is that a thing?
I'll say, like, later when we get out.
Yeah,
Matt,
I
You're muted, Matt, by
You're
the
on
way.
mute, Matt. You're muted.
That would explain why everyone was talking over me. So, yeah, you can do that now if you want. It definitely takes a few minutes feasibly to
Yeah,
do
okay, let's get out.
healing roll. Sure.
I'll
Absolutely.
say once we're like a few minutes from the wall, getting into the
Mhm.
woodland a bit, and then I'll stop
Sure.
Ingrid and make you like lie down and do that.
Well, you make your way, dog. You make your way. Sorry, just on Holly's screen. That's a dog, Holly, right? It's a dog and not a cat, right? Yeah. I was going to say I didn't know you had a dog. So, you make your way south out of the hollow, and as you do so, you can hear a commotion starting on the other side of that archway with the black walls, but none of them seem too keen on going through it just now. Presumably, in case they're wrong and they interrupt people who should not be interrupted. You make your way through this part of the ruin, and you see not only a kind of crack in the wall where Rem must have indicated, but you see Rem's very pale-looking face peering out the other side of it, going, "Da, come on! I think they heard you."
I think so too. Let's go.
Okay, we are scrambling through this crack in the ruin. No need for rolls or anything like that. You make it to the other side. You can hear that commotion growing behind you, but you are out, presumably kind of running or jogging at speed through the northern Chetwood until you are far enough away from that benighted ruin that you can take some time and lean against trees and presumably have a look at this steadily bleeding wound in Ingrid's side.
Yeah, I've got favored in healing.
Me too.
so
How many
yeah,
points do you have?
2.
Same. We both
Cool.
cry out at the same moment.
We both do. Yeah.
I'll assist you with a hope. There we go.
Ah,
Okay,
that works.
Cool. Yeah.
That works very well. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that there is one. Let me just double check the healing things. The first aid, yeah. Yeah. No, it's fair enough. Yeah, you can only be administered a successful first aid only once, and a failed healing roll cannot be repeated until a day has passed. Which I love, because it's the kind of thing, right? Let's just talk about this while Holly makes the roll. Let's talk about, actually, this is a really good bit of writing in the One Ring book, because often I have to put in rules, kind of improvised rules in games to say you can't just repeatedly roll healing until you heal, because it breaks the game a bit. But often it's like, well, why is that, and so on and so forth. I do it in Simba, and people who watch that will know. But this one actually explains it in that it says you can only try again after a day, because you won't know if you've succeeded or not. Because why would you know if it's worked?
Yep.
Until time has passed, which
That makes a lot of sense.
should have thought of myself earlier, but also like that's the really great justification. Anyway,
Yeah. You
Winky,
tried your best.
Yeah, so you succeeded on that healing roll?
Yeah, I succeeded only by 1. So thank you very much for that assist dice, because I rolled fairly poorly.
Any
But
sixes?
yeah, I just make it. No, I rolled a 1 and 2 2s on my d6s, so
Sure.
barely scraped the target number.
Well, in that case, Ingrid, you can reduce the amount of days you'll take to heal to 3. But wounds have no other effect on you other than or these standard wounds until they heal, except it's bad news if you're wounded again. If you're wounded again, you are unconscious and dying until you are attended to. So, yeah. Okay, that's enough rules and blurb. Role play, people. What we're in the middle of the Chetwood. You're reaching, like, it's definitely, the sky is definitely now darker overhead. You think you're kind of like late afternoon, sort of very early evening, but you've succeeded.
You shouldn't move too quickly on that leg. Do you think we should try and get all the way back tonight?
They might be searching for us once the news gets out.
I think we should try and get back. Although Rem, you know where the Skunkwood hideout is, I assume.
No.
I think
took me there.
Yeah. Well, let's head back and see if Ellie can tell us where it is.
Yeah. Well, we've held up our side of the bargain.
You did really good, Ram. You did. You're a good boy. I can see why Herb's so proud of you.
He is a good boy, isn't he?
Did you really kill them red-robed fellows, Dad?
Well, I mean, one of them.
He kind of shakes his head as if kind of not wrapping his head around that.
Your old man's good for something, you know. I wasn't always. And I pat my belly.
Right. He strides out. I mean, he can probably lead you through these woods by night better than any of you can because he's a brigand in these woods, or was. So he does. We're heading straight back to Combe, right? No particular, but maybe taking a little slower than we were because of Ingrid's kind of wound in her hip.
I will tell one of the tall
try and
folks.
insist that we don't slow down for her.
Sure.
I will tell one of the tall folks to help her walk on it, unless he refuses.
And maybe if we stay off the road in case that's where they look for us.
Sure.
If Leitner isn't, I will help Ingrid.
Absolutely. So, limping and walking, you make your way through the Chetwood and emerge sometime later, probably maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later, from the slightly slower pace and having to kind of try and avoid the forest paths. You emerge out onto the edge to see the lumber camp in front of you. People seem to be kind of clearing up for the night and retreating back to Combe. You join one of those general groups of individuals and make your way over the rise where the watch post is and down towards that main market area. You get a couple of, again, odd glances from the lumber camp workers, especially Ingrid, who's obviously been hurt out there. Once you get to the marketplace, Rem turns to you and says, "Look, I don't think I should rightly be in Combe for a few days at least. They're going to come looking for me. I know I said I wouldn't go back, but I think I want to go see Ma."
Yeah, I think she'd appreciate it.
I'll tell her you're all right. I'll tell her what you did. But you're coming back soon, right?
Yeah, just got a couple of little things I got to do first.
All right. He gives you a brief kind of slightly embarrassed hug of a 18-year-old and strides off in the direction of Bree, which isn't a lot. It's another hour's walk or so to the west.
I wipe a tear from my eye.
Okay. Are we going to see Torridan?
Yep.
Okay. As you do so, you kind of step up onto that platform in front of the Combe and Wattle, and you hear a voice from the shadows near the stables going, "Hey, oi, shh."
Is it a voice we recognise? Is it?
It's a fairly familiar woman's voice.
Lincoln is happy to peer in.
It is Ellie Cutleaf who stood in the shadow of the stables. She has a kind of like slightly gleeful grin on her face as she looks over you and says, "Well, you're here and you've clearly been in a fight, so I'm guessing
It all worked out.
he's dead."
Mm-hmm.
And the den mother.
Her too.
Ingrid
Poison?
made sure of it.
Poison as much as we can. I think Winky's even got some left over.
Yeah.
Well, you folks do your business.
They are very good.
And if you've been to those ruins, you know now about the evil spreading through the Blackwolds. I suppose
Let's
it's
not talk
time
of it.
to show you where to find Skunkwood. I was able to meet with him, though he was talking to one of them strange men. Called him Eogan. Seemed to be taking his marching orders from him, though I could tell he wasn't happy about it. That Eogan, he seemed concerned with someone in their cells called Amdir. Friend of yours?
They've been looking for him.
Well, look, Skunkwood's used me and a lot of other good folk here in Combe. That hideout, it's at the foot of Staddle Falls. by Staddle Pond. I'll take you and you'll be welcomed inside. Maybe we'd best go talk to whoever you're working for first, though. We'll need all the blades we can bring, and let's be quick about it. Once he hears about Jagger's death, William Skunkwood will be onto us. He's no idiot.
Yeah, let's go up to the room and grab
Yeah.
them.
Lead her to him.
Okay. Lisbeth gives you a greeting and kind of expresses surprise and commiseration at your hunting accident, Ingrid. What was it?
Just stupidity on my part. Sorry I don't have rabbits for you.
Oh, that's never mind. Rabbits did that.
Particularly nasty boar.
Oh. Well, I'll make an extra big tea for you then.
Grinning.
You head up those stairs up to Toradan's room. There are no voices kind of coming from behind it again. But when you knock, he calls for you to enter. And as you come in, he kind of glances over to you and looks at Ellie Cutleaf, introduces himself to her. And, well, then, is our side of the deal completed?
Aye. And we've put a little dent in the Blackwolds' plans, perhaps.
Sounds like we need to move quickly, though. It seems like if you're ready to join us.
I am.
This turncoat here is going to take us to William Skunkwood.
She nods and kind of says the same to Toradan as she did to you. Then now is the time to move. Make your way to this hideout. Speak to Skunkwood. Once there, I'd advise you tell him that you heard rumor about the prisoner they took from Archet and would like to see if the tales about him are true. Men like him, they love to show off their trophies. Once you get to Amdir, free him, make your escape. Hopefully his sword arm is still true and he can strike down some of his captors himself. I will follow you silently and rush to aid you when trouble starts. You will not see me, but I will be there.
I think
Does the name-
Oso will think for a moment about volunteering to also sneak in the shadows with the ranger and then look at him and then go, nah, I'll leave him to it and just stay with everyone else.
Ellie, you mentioned another person. Aegad?
Aogan
name
was
mean-
the name.
Aegad. Does that mean anything to you? To speaking to Toradan?
I do not know of an individual, but Aogan, it is an Angmarim name. So they are from the north, from a land I pray you never see. Be careful.
We will be.
They may have sorceries at work.
If you see Constable Underhill, tell him he's a good man.
You'll see him yourself. He will not join us. A constable moving would be too easily noticed. But he will be about. I have no doubt he may be waiting for us when we emerge.
Ellie, the notes, I know the notes are old news now, that there was mention of some uniform or something. Do we need to do anything else to prepare, or can we go straight to Skunkwood now?
I'll be vouching for you. I'll take you in myself. There's no need for any of that. Are we ready? Ellie and Toradan stride out of the room alongside you, out into the street where the marketplace is just wrapping up. The sun is going down on the horizon, and people are laughing, going home to their beds, to their meals, walking into the comb and wattle as you are walking away from the town into the sudden coolness of the evening night. Otho.
I was just going to see if I could grab a snack on the way out because, it's that sort of time of
You
evening.
can indeed grab a snack on your way out of the comb and wattle.
Sorry, Hobbit's got a Hobbit.
There's food
Go ahead.
available. As you emerge up go up that eastern road for I think the third time today. This time, Ellie leads you off the path of it as you get to that top area near the where Constable Wren is posted. You remember I said about the building that was being erected there on the hilltop. You can see the frame of it there. A doe is wandering across the still night scene, gently chewing on grass and some bushes nearby, and then with a start leaps away as she sees you approach. Torridan gives you all a small nod and slips off into the shadows near a tree. You do not see him again until I mention his presence. But you definitely have the sense as you approach the hideout that he is there. Ellie leads you over this rise and out towards where you can see part of Staddle Pond, quiet and still in the night air. As you can see, a crowded night sky of stars above, reflected in the water. There is a rushing sound as she walks further to the east, and you see ahead of you there is a field of stumps of trees, and at the end of it, a point where Staddle Pond pours out in a waterfall over the edge. Really very much not far from where you've been traveling this entire time, a mere maybe 5 minutes south of where the path led you to the Chetwood. She leads you down and around another expanse of water where Staddle Pond pours out and meets. You remember the river we talked about leading over to the lumber camp, kind of the point where they meet in a larger pond. Around that and over to the other side to a pathway leading up towards where the base of Staddle falls, and ahead of you, amongst the rushes and the bushes and the rocks, you can see lit only by a soft lantern light, a wooden door embedded into the side of the base of Staddle Falls. Ellie turns to you and says, "If you've got anything else to say or plan or do, now's the time."
Do you think you're going to be able to persuade him that all of us are with you? I kind of look to me and Winky quickly.
I think so, yes. He trusts me.
Okay.
How
we'll
busy
follow
is
you then.
it in there? How many can we expect to see?
There'll be quite a few. You're in for the fight of your life once you come out with this Amdir fellow. Is he handy with a sword?
Oh, yes.
Aye, if he can hold one.
Well, with you as well and this Torridan, I'm sure you'll be all right. Maybe. I'll do what I can. I won't fight Skunkwood. You should know that.
May I ask why?
No. She starts walking forwards.
Fair enough. I think we just go in. I think that
Follow her in.
Okay. She walks up to that door in the face of the falls cliff and knocks on it a staccato rhythm that is clearly some kind of code before she opens it to reveal a fairly large cavern in front of you. A cavern with, as you can see, banners hung on either side of it, tattered, poorly made banners that seem to portray some dark crown against a red background. A couple of black wolves stand by another door, and as you approach, Ellie, with a kind of swaggering confidence, One of them stares up at you from beneath a furrowed brow, spits onto the ground, and studies your faces for a few seconds before giving a wry and sinister smile. These the new blood. Ellie nods. You'll find Skunkwood in the back. He stands up and opens the doorway with a large iron key and pushes it open. Unless anyone says anything, I'm assuming we're just following Ellie and following her lead. Is that about right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Ingrid is absolutely like not doing a very best to like not show anything of the injury
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as
sure.
much as possible.
Well, you've got like a cloak, right? You could bundle it around you and pretend it's like cool. You know, it is quite cold and dripping inside this cave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like she's trying to make sure like she's not limping or anything, like she's just powering through.
yeah, absolutely. So you emerge out down a fairly long cave path into another cavern. This one clearly a kind of like open living area for a number of black wolves. You can see a few of them scattered around, sat at tables, drinking, talking. The entire thing is lit by kind of rough torches on the walls, and there are a number of passageways leading off. You can't help but notice that the one over to your left has bars mounted on it, thick iron bars that have been put into place. Not immediately recently, but certainly, not in the distant past. Ellie leads you over further over towards the right on the opposite side of this kind of living space, where, as you can see, there are another set of banners before a large gap in the cavern wall. There are no black wolves immediately with you, although all of them are kind of like watching you pass with some curiosity, especially the hobbits. Ellie turns around and says, "All right, this is Skunkwood. Now, I shouldn't have to say you're going to be on your best behavior for him, aren't you?"
Yep.
All right, then. Let's go. She walks down another passageway with you and leads you to yet another cave. This one clearly with an area at the back where part of the Staddle Falls opens up underneath the rock and water pours down in a sheet behind where a number of other banners have been set up. Torches that give off faintly odd purplish light illuminate the place as a number of black wolves sit and lay around. Over towards one side of the room, there is what seems to be a pile of corpses laid out, humans and a couple even of hobbits, unfortunate individuals perhaps that the black wolves have imprisoned here or waylaid and done away with. The black wolves don't seem to even notice it or notice the stench rolling off it. Up on a natural incline in front of that sheet of water that's pouring down is a man dressed richly in black wolves gear with two wolves on either side of him. This, you determine, must be William Skunkwood. Ellie strides over confidently and up to him. He reaches out and traces a hand across her cheek, leans down and plants a kiss on her lips. She nods and steps back and says, "Will, this is the new blood I told you about." Are we moving forwards?
Yep. I'll walk up. Sir Skunkwood, it is an honor.
I'm sure it is. No need for sir. Just Skunkwood is fine. He scratches at a kind of full beard on his face and picks momentarily at hair swept back. He's kind of like a man in his middle years, and he's quite handsome and tall and broad, but there's just something about a slight fragility to his movements, and you see like his hand comes away with some blood on it, as if maybe there are some odd sores starting to grow on his scalp. Ellie's said a lot about you. We lost a lot of good men and women in Archet. I'd be glad to have you in the fold if you know what you're doing.
We know what we're doing, sir. Oh, skunk word. We got to say, itching for a fight. Heard there was one of those rangers
Oh,
that got.
there is. Aye. You heard about him.
What a prize to have caught one such as he.
I suppose so. I have to tell you, what is happening to him is plain unnatural. Iogan tells me he'll be a great boon to us, but for now he's just a raving madman. You want to take a peek on him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mind showing him off. It's not every day you have a ranger in the cells. He's down in the dungeon at the far end of the caverns. My men will let you pass.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
That's amazing.
All right. You just make sure you use those blades well for the black walls.
Oh yeah, we'll make sure that you Blackwolds see the strength of our blades.
Well, well, well. I don't suppose... Did you think I'd let you come crawling back without any comment?
Well, it's clear things have changed, haven't they?
They have. Do you know what side your bread's buttered now?
Well, if it's really a ranger down in those dungeons, I suppose I've got a lot of things to think about.
You do. You other four. You watch this one. He'll turn his back on you in an instant. And if he does, you just put a blade in it. Save me the trouble.
I wouldn't hesitate.
This is your last chance, Licknir. But you have one.
Like, if anyone looks at Lickner, he's like clearly struggling to like hold his tongue. Like,
all right. Leave me with my woman. He indicates for you to go.
I leave.
Yeah, he did point us in the direction for the
Yeah,
main.
yeah.
So we
I mean,
left room.
It's clearly going to be where the bars are, you suspect,
Yeah.
back in the main chamber. And you can walk through there swiftly and easily. The bars are guarded, as one might suspect, by a Blackwold who kind of stands there staring at you as you approach. What do you want?
he's Skunkwood's told us to kind of have a look at this prisoner.
Heard you got a ranger in there.
She shivers a bit. All right, well, if Skunkwood says so. Just don't go too near the bars. He's dangerous.
We've heard.
You haven't heard enough. She unlocks the door and opens it for you.
Okay.
Go through. Yeah.
You walk through, it leads to a relatively short stone passage, and as you start walking through it, you hear a voice echoing through the cavern. It seems oddly loud in your ears, considering you couldn't hear it before you walked through past the bars, but now you do. It is barely recognizable, a soft but sort of abrasive whisper that you all hear equally at the same time. Make it stop. You emerge out into, again, a slightly larger cavern. Ahead of you are a couple of Blackwolds nervously watching a figure standing by the front of some other bars. The figure is dressed in Amdir's clothes and is writhing and rocking on its feet, occasionally pushing hands and head against the bars of the cage. Those head and those hands are an odd pearlish grey cast. It looks like, perhaps from this distance, like Amdir has aged 50 years in a week, or that some horrible skin disease has caught a hold of him, but you wouldn't be able to really tell anymore without going closer to him. Further back in the jail is a small old woman in a kind of nondescript green dress, who is watching Amdir carefully and impassively, but is clearly staying at some intentional distance from him.
There's no sign of any red cloaks in here.
No, there is not.
Is it just those two guards?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
You...
We'll get closer.
I know you. You get closer and can see that the kind of discoloration on Amdir's skin that you had mistaken for a kind of cast to it is instead an awful translucency. He seems to be fading away from the world as his flesh looks like it's drifting away from his body in patches. You can almost see his skull underneath, or it seems that way. And as his eyes flick up towards you, there's only briefly, there's an odd sense of them not being right, them looking at you as if from behind some veil, some curtain. The wound is so cold. It speaks to me. A voice tells me things, tells me about the end of all things, the beginning of new things. It calls me to service.
I can see that this is truly a madman. Hey, I address one of the guards. Skunkwood wanted to see him in person.
Okay, as you're doing this, so you're talking to the guards there. Can everyone else describe exactly how they're reacting and what they're doing with this situation? Let's go down from the top. So, Licknir, how about you?
I find this thing very terrifying, and I feel over my depth. And all I can do right now is try and work out who has the key to this cell. Like look
so
around
like,
and see.
Yeah, scouting out those guards and the area.
Which is the one that has the key?
Sure, absolutely. How about Ingrith?
I think she will get closer to Amdir, like looking a bit closer. I guess depending on how far back the guards are, either we'll try and like maybe whisper something to him, or maybe just probably really just be being ready to act.
But you're coming closer to him, closer.
But I'll be coming closer to Amdir. Yeah,
absolutely. Winky, how about you?
I think what I'm going to do is like I'm going to pretend to like retch a little bit, and then I'm going to get out my water skin and take a swig from it, and then I'm going to try and silently pour the remaining poison into my water skin.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Otho.
I was just really curious what the woman was doing.
Okay.
Like, what is the purpose of her in the prison with him? Was my question. Is she a prisoner?
She certainly looks like a prisoner. She has no possessions on her, and she's behind the bars.
Cool.
But she looks like she's staying well clear of Amdir. So you can't really tell at the moment. But yes. Herb, you're engaging these guards, kind of like getting up to a bit of like the old trying to pull a fast one over them. Licknir, you're looking around for the keys. Winky, you're carrying out your stealth poison switching. Otho, you're peering back. Ingrith, as you get closer to look at Amdir, he looks up at you, and you see for the first time his eyes, two pinpricks of red deep in shadowed sockets like twin stars gazing at you. You see recognition in them for a moment. You see that he knows you. He knows who you are. He knows why you're here. I must do what it says. I must escape. No, I must. The voice starts to rise above a whisper into a scream that seems to physically wash over you. As he reaches through the bars towards you, the bars themselves start to vibrate. The Blackwolves reel back, clutching their hands over their ears. Probably everyone else does so as well. Could everyone roll Valor, please? As the scream of Amdir echoes through the cave like nothing. Well, actually, nothing Leeknir has ever heard before, and something all the rest of you have heard before off the road in the Blackwolves camp where you first met.
Can I spend hope on this?
You can indeed spend hope.
I will do that.
Does a
Don't
10 do anything on
I'm afraid it does not, but don't forget that your Valor roll is favoured as well, Ingrid.
I got 10s on both.
Okay.
I got a
Fail
Gandalf
overall.
rune and passed it anyway. So
Sure. Absolutely.
Just past it. Narrowly.
Yeah, with
Just
my-
past it.
With my point of hope, just past it.
Okay. Anyone who didn't pass, take another point of shadow, please. So who passed it? Leeknir and Herb passed
Yep.
it. Are you the only ones? Okay. All
I
of you.
passed as well.
Oh, you passed as well. All of you are sent staggering backwards by the sound of the scream, and also by the fact that those iron bars essentially explode out over the cave, scattering themselves across the cave floor. If you passed, you basically see what happens. Otherwise, you're too busy kind of clutching your head and reeling backwards. The Blackwolves both collapse to the ground and scatter to one side. Sorry, while I'm Justin, could you just flick your mic off, please?
Sorry.
The Blackwolves back off and drop to the ground, insensible. The old woman at the back of the cage kind of takes a step backwards and sort of shields her face, but doesn't seem to have to kind of like, she's not clutching at her ears and falling to the ground. What was Amdir bursts forward from the bars and rushes through that, like now a gap in the middle of the cave as everyone is sort of scattered away from what it's done, and moving over the ground, partly running and partly seeming to glide, rushes through towards the entrance to the jail and out of sight, well before any of you can regain your senses enough to like actually start moving. Once you do, you can hear the sound of screaming and shouting from back in the Blackwolves cave. The Blackwall jailers that were here are like, they're unconscious. They are on the ground, kind of. One of them has a bleeding head wound from where the bars cracked into them. And at the back of the jail, the old woman is kind of like clambering back to her feet, saying, "Oh, help me, please come help me. I can't move."
Sorry, so is part of the door to the now exploded? Like it's just
Yeah,
isn't
you
there
could
anymore
definitely
now?
get in that cell. It's sort of the door's just
Yeah.
blown open with Amdir's scream cracked the iron.
Wow. Yeah, assuming like because I did fail my roll, but assuming can move again, I will rush in and
Mhm.
just try and like pull her out.
Yeah, you can all move now. Yeah,
I'm gonna move
slowly.
After
You're like staggering. Sorry.
I'm gonna move after the thing in that direction.
Yeah, I was going to follow as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
I'll try and help Ingrid with the lady.
Yeah,
as
I
you
just
walk-
I was gonna say just get her out of the cell bit and then to go follow the others as well, like and leave her to get out
Sure.
on her own.
As you pick her up, "Oh, thank you for coming to save me, young one. I have been here for a long time. I've seen so many things. I think I can tell you something about your friend, but I need my stick, and I need you to help me. I'm not. My legs aren't what they were." She kind of is slowly clambering to her feet and kind of like hanging onto you, but she's quite small and very, very old.
Perhaps I can help her because you're And I look down at your hip.
We'll get you out. Like I guess with one on each side. Like we'll help you through, but we may
She
need
seems to
go
need
ahead
that
and clear
help.
the way. Yeah, but we may need to help clear the way. What
Please,
you've seen
please
things?
don't leave me. They might wake up. They'll throw me back in.
I go over to one of the guards. Do they have anything like a spear or anything that she can just use as like a stick or anything on them?
I'm maybe not emphasizing how
totally frail she is.
How very frail she seems.
Okay. Fair enough. I will. Yeah, I'll see that there's nothing appropriate, and I'll come back and try and carry her out the cell.
Sure. I mean, you can between you two, you can certainly support her.
If she knows something about how to get Amdir back.
Matt, you said that the guards are unconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we just go slit their throats?
If you want to take a whole bunch of shadow, yes.
I don't know. I'm like,
it will count as a misdeed, and you will absolutely take a whole bunch of shadow for slitting the throats of unconscious people.
Yeah. If you suggest that, Herb will just be like, "Look, it's fine. They're unconscious. They're not going to wake up. It's all going to be fine. It's all going to be fine."
She's not saying this out loud. She's like,
she's thinking this.
Yeah, I mean, I just like we've got this old lady, but like also we can't just like walk her out into like a room full of black walls who are also and whatever else is out there. Like we've got to help clear the way.
I think the idea is that she's not necessarily safe unless you keep her with you, and keeping her with you will slow you down. The others have gone ahead. They just said they were running off. That's fine. But I'm saying for Herb and Ingrid now, if you want to make sure this woman is safe, yeah, I guess you could maybe, even if you leave her in here, people could enter behind you, I suppose. But like, yeah, sure. I guess it's like casually murder a bunch of people,
I don't want to murder a bunch of people. I really don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, it's not a good idea.
It's not. Herb, you go ahead, help the others. I'm slow anyway. I'll help her through.
No, I'm staying with you two. We're going out together.
I feel like this decision has been made by Herb, by Ingrid and Herb together. And I feel like as that's happening, we should cut to the others who've rushed out. What you see is that large living area cave. Amdir has clearly been through here, and you see several black wolves on the ground, some of them unconscious, and a couple of them who've seemingly been cut open considerably by some kind of blade, presumably Amdir's. As you stumble out, and again, you're not slowed down by the old woman, but you had to like stagger to shake off whatever Amdir's scream did to you, and the three of you emerge out into this scene at the same time as you see ahead of you William Skunkwood and his two wolves emerge from that opposite passageway. He kind of staggers forward, shakes his head about it, and looks up at you and says, "Traitor! I knew I shouldn't let you back in here." Yeah, he's coming for you.
Yeah, you were right. You were right, Skunkwood. I say, drawing my sword.
Sure. So we're just going to straight into combat. I actually don't think we have time for an opening volley. I don't think the room it's large, but not huge. And all of you are like, "Oh shit, draw weapons." You know what I mean?
It's
like,
fine, yeah.
So I don't think we have any time for an opening volley. So they're going to come at you. Winky does have two people in close combat, so can still be in rearward. But it means that you're one of you is going to get two people on you. I think Will's coming for Licknir. I just don't see how that wouldn't be the case. And I think I will put a wolf on Otho, and then I will roll to see who the other wolf goes for. It goes for Licknir as well.
Good.
Which is probably good, yeah. Although both of you are pretty good defensively.
You both have the same, actually, yeah.
Yeah, you both have 19. So, forward, open. I know that Winky is rearward. Forward or open or defensive for the two of you?
Forward.
Forward.
I'll say open.
Open. Okay, Licknir, that's you first then. You have a wolf and Will Skunkwood, your former bandit compatriot, coming for you, who I'm assuming you're swinging for Will, but like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering whether I'm going to spend a point of hope or not. I think
Well,
I would.
how about I tell you what his parry level is first?
Yeah, why not?
Well, his parry level is actually 0, so yeah.
Oh, go on. I'll just do a usual regular roll then.
Sure.
And it's great because I rolled a Gandalf and a Tengwar. So I'm pretty happy with
Gandalf
that.
and a Tengwar. Okay. What is the injury of your weapon?
16.
16. Okay. William Skunkwood. Oh, hang on. Oh, can I just I just want, in the interest of being honest, but also retrofitting to make things more interesting. He actually has some resolve to spend. I know you've already rolled it, but I would like to make that attack roll ill-favored, please. So if you could roll another feat die and see what you get.
Okay. I also forgot to roll an extra one on my regular dice, so I rolled that too.
Oh, well,
that
there we go.
is much worse.
Is it still a hit?
I need to calculate. So that would be 12, 16. Yeah, just a hit.
Okay.
Hit.
So still
And
a hit,
definitely
but no
not a
longer a piercing blow. Okay.
Yeah, but
you do have the extra success as well. Yeah. So what's your flat damage of your sword?
Flat damage, I think, is 4. Yes, 4.
4. Okay. And then what are you spending your tank? Your
the extra endurance damage, because I'm not going to get. I'm not going to get.
Cool. What's your strength?
5.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. As he charges for you, he seems thoroughly enraged, as you might imagine, swinging for you with his sword, and you pace a little bit around the cave for a second, parrying and deflecting before you reach through and stab him deep in his shoulder, which just leads him to spit the word traitor at you again before like pulling back and just pulling your sword off his shoulder, seemingly ignoring it and swinging further for you. Otho, you are in open. Make an attack with no adjusted parry on that wolf, please.
Sure. I'm going to spend a hope. 3, 4. Yep, that's a hit with nothing special.
Okay, what's your damage on your axe?
5.
5. Okay. Yeah, you swing out at the wolf as it comes towards you and manage to shear a deep cut across its head, which doesn't drop it, but definitely leaves it sort of snarling with blood in its eyes. I'm going to roll their attacks now, so let's roll for Williams.
Am I doing...
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm so sorry, Holly. I always forget Rearwood.
Can I, instead of making an attack,
Mm-hmm.
douse my remaining chicken leg in my poisoned water and lob it at one of the wolves?
You can, but I'm telling you right now that you're not going to attract a wolf involved in,
okay, cool. In which case,
bloodshed
I'll
and combat with a chicken
I'll just
leg.
shoot. I'll just shoot.
Sure. Wolf or Will?
I'm going for the one that's on Licknir, the wolf that's on
the
Licknir.
Wolf on Licknir. Okay.
Yeah. No, by one, I just actually no, because I get the Gandalf rune. So
if you get Gandalf rune, it's an auto hit.
Cool. Yeah.
And also
nothing
piercing
special,
blow.
but okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if it's Gandalf rune, it's a piercing blow. So
so 14 on the injury.
14 on injury, and their stat is 1. They have really bad armor, as you might expect, because it's the wolf. Your arrow pierces the creature's neck and sends it tumbling to the floor, dead.
I'm so far twice
I'm
as
just
good
like,
as I was.
You've
last
one
time.
shot
Very
things
nice.
twice in this. Yeah,
I'm just
piercing blows.
Winky has saved Licknir so many times in this adventure.
Absolutely. So we'll go to the next round, but before we do that, let's cut back to the previous cave. So Herb and Ingrid, the old woman who is with you is sort of you are helping her forward, but it's quite slow going. She's kind of with you, saying, "Oh, it would be good to see the sky again. They took my stick. Did I tell you they took my stick? I think the chest they put it in. It's just over there." She's indicating a kind of large iron-bound chest over by the passageway to the bars.
Look, I
Can we just like just looking at her like, what is it? Is a stick more useful than us carrying you out?
Well, maybe if I get my stick, I can take myself out. Then you can go catch up with your friends.
all right. Okay. I'll can I see the container?
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there any is it locked?
It does appear to be locked, but you have an axe.
I do have an axe.
You do have an axe.
And presumably this lock does not look like it's going to survive at many axe hits, hopefully.
No, I don't think so.
I will attempt to smash it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Could you make a check? Let's roll athletic. What's your athletics?
It's 2 with a favor. I think it's a favored.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna just give you a straight, because I don't think it's a massive. I think you've got the right tool for the job for chopping like the padlock off the front of this. So I'm going to give you an extra 2 dice for it as well. But can you make an athletics test? And obviously, because it's favored, you can re-roll your feat die and whatever you want to do with hope or whatever.
okay. Yeah, I'm at 6 hope with 4 shadow, so I think I'm going to leave it.
Mhm.
I'm a bit worried. I fail just by 1, unfortunately.
Really?
I
Dice.
I got 16.
Did you
and my
try
target-
re-rolling your feat die?
Oh shit! No, I did not. So I got a 6 on that before. So if I re-roll that, I got a 3. So that is
Okay.
not better.
There we go. Ingrid, do you want to try?
Well, I was gonna try picking the lock.
You do
but I
that.
think
Yeah,
if it's
burglary.
just had an axe attack, I'm not sure if is that even still possible?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah.
Glance
The axe
off
like
it.
went through the top of it, like the where it's hung off at the top, but the lock itself is still like fine.
Ingrid's
Okay,
just behind you going, all you're doing is making it harder, Herb.
Yeah. What am I? So I've got my. I'm assuming this counts with like the burglary thing.
Yeah. That's a good
but-
question. What would you roll for that though? If that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's genuinely a good question. Any suggestions from people?
Is it craft?
I was about to
craft.
suggest craft.
Yeah.
Maybe craft.
Or it could be. I mean,
Craft,
it's
craft,
not
it's more-
craft
more
or
like-
riddle would be
Yeah.
my
Riddle?
yeah.
Do you wanna suggest anything,
Right.
Ingrid?
I mean, neither of those are amazing for me, but I mean, like it is what it is, I guess. Yeah, I guess I can try craft. So
Okay.
the distinctive features, I can roll the. Sorry, I'm getting this model now as well. That's the roll the D12 twice.
No, what that
Is
is
it? No,
if
that's
you
the
spend
that's the 2d6 with the spend of hope.
if you spend a hope, you can take another 2d6,
Yeah.
and I'll give you an extra d6 already because I think it is at least part like Herb's. Made some progress on at least loosening the top.
I
of
was
it,
very
so,
close.
Yeah.
I am gonna spend the hope to get loads of extras and yeah, all right, okay, well, let's see how this goes. Okay, that is definitely a success, but no special stuff.
Okay, that's fine. You lean over and with your like eating knife or something, like jam it into the lock and just jimmy it around until something gives. You open it and it's quite a long chest. Inside are actually quite a number of things, including what you would broadly term treasure. Also laid on top of it is what looks like a kind of walking staff or stick, on the top of which is an odd banded kind of metal diamond with the edges going over. It's quite an elaborate looking stick. And the old woman kind of reaches down and goes, "Oh, such a joy to have this again." And kind of like stands back up, and as soon as she kind of stands up and rests it on the ground, she sort of reaches her back, and there's like a kind of cracking noise of someone stretching, and says, "Oh, I think I can make my way out just behind you on my own now. Thank you, young one. My name is Sarah Oakheart. You have my thanks."
You sure
You're
you'll
very-
be okay?
"Oh yes, you go on ahead. I'll be right behind you."
What other treasure is there in here? And anything that also potentially looks like it could be Amdir's sword or something like that?
Amdir's sword is not in here. However, if you want to, if you want to quickly grab the treasure, what we'll do
I totally do.
I'll just say if you shove the treasure in, we'll do a treasure roll at the end to see what you've picked up, to save time right now while everything's popping off. How about that? And as we do that, let's go back to the fight, to the revised thing. What are our stances? Obviously, rearward.
They didn't. They never hit us, by the way, last round.
Did they not?
They did not.
Oh my god, that's silly of me. Well then, let's pick up with that. And well done reminding me.
Player honesty right there.
Player
Yeah.
honesty right
Sorry.
there. That's lovely. Well, let's go with William Skunkwood. What's your parry rating, please, Justin?
I think it is 19.
It's 19,
Yes,
isn't it?
19.
Yes.
Good luck, mate.
Well, I think he's done it.
Damn.
Um,
Oh, and I'm also in forward. Yeah, so
Oh yeah, so he would get an extra die as well.
Mhm.
So I will roll that in case
Stop
it's
wishing
6,
the
which it
opponents
isn't.
good luck.
So that's 11,
no, welcome to it.
19. Yeah, he got like 20, 22, and a Tengwar as well. And he does have Pierce, but he doesn't have enough to push it into a piercing blow. So it will just be the damage. In which case it is just the damage. So take 3 endurance, please, Lignir.
I will tell him that he hits like an old woman.
He is enraged still further and is coming at you, almost frothing at the mouth now. As for Otho, what's yours is 19 as well, right?
19. I was in open.
And you were an open. Yeah. Ooh. Oh my god, he got the wolf got it as well.
I know, like, ooh.
But with Pierce, but that doesn't go, so it's the same. The fangs of the wolf manage to slip through your guard and close briefly over your shin, tearing your flesh and scraping across the bone for 3 points of endurance.
Ooh.
No one's down to wearied, are they? With equal
Close.
load. Okay. We are very near the end now, guys. Don't worry. We are getting there. Okay, let's go straight back to your rounds stance.
Yeah, forward.
I'll stay in open.
You'll stay in open. Okay, Lignir, make an attack on Skunkwood, please. He has flat parry.
I definitely hit with a extra success, but no, nothing else. So I'll just do
Okay.
the. Actually, I will. Is it if I get to do a pierce? That's +2 for swords, right? So raise my feet die.
Let me have a look. I think it is +2. Yes.
Yeah. Wait, no, +1 if using swords, +2 if using
No, it's
bows. So it's
+1.
+1. That's not enough for me to get a thing. So just the regular endurance.
So
damage
what's the
then.
total damage there?
I think that's my strength plus sword, which is 9.
Okay, you've got it. It's fine.
It's fend off with that +2.
Skunkwood, sort of, as I say, he's furious and almost berserk now as he steps into your guard and desperately tries to. At this point, he's more about literally just trying to strike you with his fists and hack at you with his sword. And you sort of wrestle with him for a moment and tumble across the cavern walls, like rolling around and around. And when you pull away, almost to your surprise, your blade is dripping with his blood and he's clutching at a wound in the center of his sternum. And he'll just take a couple of steps backwards and just seems to want to try and form some word to say to you before collapsing backwards into a table and on the ground. And the wolf, seeing its master fall, is also going to flee. There is no more opposition in here. And now all you can hear is the sound of a chilling whisper of a voice coming from further up the entrance tunnel towards Staddle Falls, as Ingrid and Herb emerge behind you from the jail to see William Skunkwood dead and your friends standing triumphant.
Is there any sign of the ranger? Our other ranger, the friend, the guy who was helping us.
Torridan, no, you can't see him. But you can hear Amdir presumably talking further down that entrance corridor because no one else sounds like that. But that's all you can hear at the moment.
Go that way, I guess.
Wow.
Is that our general conclusion?
Yeah. If we look back, is a woman still there and following us?
Yeah, you can see her further back behind and she's walking quite slowly. But she is kind of very intently walking with her stick.
Okay. I am silently wondering whether I just gave the greatest treasure in that chest to this old woman, but we'll follow along eagerly to figure out what's going on with Amdir.
To be fair, it doesn't look expensive. It's just kind of like quite plain metal. So
we can do that for an old woman, though. Well, that's it.
Look, maybe she just really likes a stick. That's
health is the greatest treasure.
Exactly. Okay, if we're all going down this corridor, you hear two voices speaking. One of them is unmistakably Amdir, and you can hear him almost kind of like rambling what seem to be sort of nonsensical words to you, and then another voice speaking to him in kind of a tense but calm tone. Amdir is saying, the void, the voice, the calmer voice, as you sort of move your way down the corridor, you can see ahead of you, just kind of round the corner and through that front door, where Amdir is kind of writhing, bent over on one knee on the ground, and further back from him, you can see Torridan standing with his blade unsheathed. As he sees you emerge kind of just in front of the door, you were already quite reluctant, honestly, to get close to Amdir. There are just this wave of dread feels like it's rolling off him, and every time he speaks, it's like an old wound in you from the scream in the cell, and every time he speaks, you feel it chill run through you like a bad back on a stormy summer day. It just sends these waves of not quite paralysis, but reluctance to really move forwards through you. Again, I'm sure I don't have to remind all of you who aren't Leeknir what this reminds you of. Torridan says, all of you, stay back. It's too late. It's too late. I'm sorry. My friend, I must end this. He takes one step forward towards Amdir, but you can see that his blade is still low against his body, such as his reluctance to strike down his friend. End this. Kill me. Is this the compassion of the Dunedain? The voice told the truth. Amdir rears back with another piercing scream, dives forward, and in the confusion of the moment, you see the two of them clutched, almost embraced as lovers, before Amdir races off again, gliding and spinning over the ground as he moves towards the entrance to Staddle Falls. Torridan stands for a moment and then collapses onto the cavern floor, clutching at a wound in his belly, which seems to be spilling vast quantities of crimson blood over the rock ground.
Winky will instinctively rush forward and try and do any form of healing, but from my point of view, I doubt I'm going to be able to do anything. But yeah,
as I'm assuming people are generally moving forward, Ingrid and Winky were the first to say, so they're kind of right there. As you rush towards him, Winky, and you're kind of like reaching into your packs at your side, you feel Torridan's hand reach out, still shaking but still strong, and kind of clasp you on the shoulder and says, It is too late. Amdir, beyond saving. You must warn my kindred. The mustering cave. Help them. Go to Underhill. Ask him. Tangle. Rush. Oh. He gives out one last racking cough and goes still on the ground of the cave.
Is he?
Oh, goodness me. What a terrible sight for these old eyes. That blade that stung Amdir has done its work. And I fear he's nothing more than a servant of the enemy now. You should try and stop him if you can. Don't worry about me. Now I'm free of that awful cell, I'll be fine. And with my stick back, I don't know what I'd have done without it. You've done me a great service this day. I shall see it repaid. Sarah Oakhart walks past Torridan's body on the ground with honestly what seems to be a shocking casualness and exits through the waterfall door.
I have a horrible feeling about that.
And I think we'll leave you there in the Blackwall's hideout under Staddle Falls, the body of yet another ranger on the ground in front of you, Amdir out in Breeland, seemingly hunting down or going to hunt down Torridan's kinsman. Bit of a cliffhanger, but spoilers, I'm intending to return to this. So
Surprise. I think
might not be a very good omen for Rangers. Things don't go well for the Rangers we
Maybe not.
encounter. I feel bad.
we should just walk the other way if we see any more Rangers.
maybe not. Yeah.
I feel like Herb's final words there really summed up that ending.
Yeah. There we go, folks. So before we go any further, I'm going to get some promo out of the way. If anyone wants to write any comments or questions into the chat, we'll pop them up and we'll talk about them. You'll have to bear with me through that because I usually have like John or Steve here to manage these things as well, but I'm going to be doing it all on my own. In the meantime, first off, let's do that treasure roll, shall we? Because hey, that was kind of a dark ending, right? So
So at least we're rich.
At least you're rich.
What's this we you guys are talking about?
Well, that is a question.
Why is Ingrith so evil? You know, we're supposed
Ingrith,
to be
you
a
just added a
fellowship.
slit throats and steal treasure.
Why is it
That
with me?
was pure Inga, not Ingrid, for sure. Also,
Yeah.
like,
Inga's
I
a problem, I see.
I genuinely feel really bad about the throat slitting thing, and I think that was totally like an Inga like video gamey kind of thing that took over. I think reality, it was Ingrid. It probably would have been more of a should we tie them up, but
There we go.
rather than a
Yeah.
Keep
kill
telling
them
yourself
sort
that.
of
Keep telling
thing.
yourself that.
But,
And that's why you had that reaction to the wolf brood mother as well. You know, that was all
true,
just
true.
So with the treasure, the level of treasure this is, which isn't very high, I basically roll one success die, and every hero gets that amount added to their treasure scores. So that's 2. So enjoy that. Don't spend it all at once. But that moves you 2 closer to your next level of standard of living. I also need to roll the feat die twice to see if there is any kind of magical treasure. So let's see if there's anything like this.
You mean apart from that staff?
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. There were 2 items, magical items found in there. And we'll have to determine what happens about them next time because it's too complex. For the purposes of anyone who knows this system, I just roll 2 Saurons. So that's exciting. We'll determine that next time. But there were 2 things that will be found among this trove that presumably 2 of you will develop perhaps an uncomfortable amount of intensity about.
I think Steve's most recent comment is quite accurate there.
Yeah, but there's nothing to worry about. There's certainly no history in Lord of the Rings of certain items of treasure being tainted or unpleasant in some way. So I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine. In any case, thank you so much for watching and playing, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out other things by us, look in the video description below. You'll find a bunch of links. There's links to YouTube and to Twitch. You watch this on one, please do check out the other one. Twitch is where we stream all these things live, and YouTube is where we store all our video on demand. There is lots and lots and lots and lots of back stuff there. Series, other one-shots, lots of systems, lots of games, lots of lovely people playing lovely games. So yeah, take a look at those. There's also links to our social media, our Patreon and our Discord if you are so inclined to those things. We run currently 2 weekly series. Mondays is Vason with Johnny, and Wednesdays is Simbaroon with myself. We also do monthly one-shots, although we had 2 this month, of which this is the second one. So there's lots of different systems on there for you to look at or to join us live for. I think that's all the promo, apart from we actually had a whole bunch of people follow us over the last couple of days, presumably because of the promo for this. So thank you very much for your follows to You've Got Cal, Northern John Twitch, Flint Town, Zelicon, Anerion22, Escape Reality, Chad's Perch, Squirrel, Ryan of the North, Kelsons, Porto Final Fantasy 14, I'm assuming that is Porto FFXIV, and Fern Love Bond. Thank you so much for your follows. We really appreciate it. So I'm sure we'll just talk about this in general, but let's get the comments out of the way first. Oh my God, there's so much to root through. Actually, why don't you lot talk? Just talk about this. Talk about stuff.
One of the things I want to do first is also show what the symbols look like on the dice. So
yeah.
Like I'll see if I can get it without too much. Ooh, there we go. So that's the Gandalf rune, and then there's a Sauron rune that looks a bit like that, like the Eye of Sauron, and then the 6s have these little T Tengwar symbols on them, which are the things we've been talking about.
And the Sauron replaces 11 and the Gandalf replaces 12. And if we roll a Sauron, it instead counts as 0. So we can roll like 1 to 10 or a success, basically.
One of my favorite things about your character, Otho, is whenever you were saying don't underestimate a hobbit, it was always after like you did something terribly violent to somebody, like you disemboweled somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just imagining like any form of underestimation of Otho results in terrible violence. So it's just like, oh, you don't think I can eat this whole sausage? Well,
terrible violence wins you. I like the idea of subverting the expectation of a hobbit. I kind of deliberately had this hobbit as being like, yeah, he's not a nice hobbit. He's quite a violent, unpleasant hobbit, really. But, you know, some hobbits are like that. He's not a bad guy.
That's the only person who's worth protecting, Winky, who is a national treasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Although Winky's pretty dangerous in this one.
Yeah, Winky seems totally capable of protecting herself.
Yeah, I think
but also Otho was the only one who tried to attack your son. So that rage comes out.
That's not fair.
All right, let's pop some of these comments up, and then we'll talk more about the stuff. One from Steve: the Hobbit's eternal meal clock is infallible.
Yeah, that was well role played, guys.
Absolutely.
You can tell the passage of time by the loudness of the rumble of the stomach, for sure.
I mean, I'm not too dissimilar. Got one from Fern Love Bond. Again, thank you for your follow. I love that trusting people's dice rolls is possible. Honest gamers for the win. Absolutely. It's something we definitely... I always say, if you can't trust people's dice rolls, don't play with those people. Because what's the point? But yeah, and we've got... I think it's one of the strengths of us as a group. We've got a lot of trust in that direction, which means even that the players will let me retcon something, which is technically cheating without... Like Justin with that last bit was like, yeah, that's fine. I rolled the wrong die as well. Fuck it. Let's do what's more interesting. So
I think,
and
I
likewise
think that was immediately. Yeah, I think that was immediately after the REM
situation where
yeah.
we rolled like 5
yeah,
different
yeah.
failures, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Absolutely. These things, that random number generator of gaming is what produces the narrative a lot of the time, and that's
Imagine if I'd insta-killed him on that attack when I'd gone for it. It could have happened.
Well,
would have
in
changed
that-
my interactions with you.
until I
would've,
slightly
probably.
retconned by by Skunkwood spending that resolve. Justin was about to kill him, insta-kill him, and it was like, well, that's not as fun.
I
Like,
agree.
And in the end, we had that cool thing of you like,
Mhm.
it was cool and cinematic instead of just like, right. So
Yeah, completely.
Steve, maybe an alternate argument for Rem. You can't stay with these fellows; they steal handkerchiefs.
That was so funny.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, I love that character.
What else we got? One from Don't Kick Food. Good to see you, of course. And yes, unless it's absolutely clear, Sarah Oakart is absolutely an escort quest in the game.
The most
I
unsettling
do
person I've ever seen
remember
ever.
that escort quest. I was like, right when I rushed off, I was like, oh, I missed the escort quest. Damn.
Yeah. And then we have this comment from Steve, and then she legs it with an unnatural speed or just walks a few steps and fades away. Yes, this also happens. But there we go. And we've got one from Pierre here. Ingrid is definitely the scariest of our party members, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And finally, 42, friendship rings for everyone.
That couldn't go wrong.
Two rings for men and hobbits. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
What could go wrong? So there we go. Yeah, that was the follow-up. Obviously, it goes without saying for anyone familiar with Lord of the Rings Online, this is a fertile mine, should we wish to continue along these lines. And I actually certainly do. One thing that preparing for this and running this has reminded me of, I really like One Ring as a system. I think it's really nice. I think the combat is a really nice blend of crunchy and narrative enabling. And I really like, again, how it's like, it is kind of that hit point style, hit bang, bang, bang. Unless you every now and then you just go, oh, and they're dead because I stabbed them in the fucking heart. So I really like that. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And also the exhaustion thing makes it it feels more realistic to some extent. It's like, actually what happens quite often is you get exhausted and then you're stabbed in the neck, right?
Yeah. A couple of our players have to dash, by the way, and I didn't see it until now. So we'll wave goodbye to Holly and Sam. And we're not going to be around that much longer anyway, but thank you very much, obviously, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was fun.
Thanks, guys.
Take
That was
care.
really
Bye-bye.
fun.
Good. But yeah.
Let's meet in their next meal again. That's
yeah,
obviously
absolutely.
what's going on.
Any surprise that the hobbits have gone? Absolutely. So how do we feel about that?
That was really fun.
Sequel. Yeah.
I haven't played
Yeah,
the new One Ring edition, and I like the changes. I completely agree with you.
I think it's a better game in like every way.
Yeah.
My fucking heart, Pierre, with everything with your son. I was just like,
That was really good.
But it's
It
good
was
that we
so
had
good.
that balance of feel good, because obviously I knew the ending of this is a big fucking downer. But I think a downer it's not telegraphed, but it's like as soon as you see Andy, you're like, oh, this is not.
Yeah,
He's not coming back from this.
Yeah, this is not going
Yeah.
well.
I was as a player, I was definitely like, yeah, Amdir's probably beyond saving, but I have to try to try,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I was thinking like, if he's alive, he'll be able to wield a sword. I'll give him my sword, and he can fight. And I was like, he's like see-through. Can he even hold a thing?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. He is undergoing so a term I weirdly really like is from the special edition feature stuff in Lord of the Rings, specifically Fellowship of the Ring, where a Tolkien expert is talking about what wraiths are, like sort of metaphorically, or what he thinks they could be. He says, like, obviously Tolkien, I despise allegory and stuff, but I mean, come on, Jonald Ronald, like there's a plenty of allegory in your stuff. Like he talks about how he sees wraiths as people who've because it's so inspired by war, he sees them as like, you know, bureaucrats and administrators and high up military people who've basically become numb and of like they don't perceive that there's anything wrong with these awful things that are happening anymore because they're just numbers to them. They're just, and that's how he kind of interprets it. He's not sure Tolkien meant it that way, but he refers to it as like when he says all these people in the wars who do these awful things have gone through the wraithing process, which I think is a wonderful little term of like, it just strips away emotion and compassion and empathy from you until you're just like this being of pure purpose. And I like that kind of notion, and how that's done in Lord of the Rings Online as well is very with Amdir, who, you know, is this heroic character when you meet him, and then again, as I guess classic Tolkien, has fallen from grace and become this being.
I'm genuinely so sad about Amdir. I'm gutted. Me and Ingrid, or both of us.
It's not a
Ingrid is going through her own wraithing process.
Yeah, with the
I mean,
We
so
like
Ingrid
slit throats.
yeah, that was definitely not an Ingrid thought. Like, I think tying up or something, like definitely. But she's definitely like not. Yeah, I mean, when I landed
What
up,
is
I
Ingrid's
landed
calling?
with. So she's the calling is Treasure Hunter.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. But so her hope is like she's used a lot of hope this time. She did lose a couple of gained a couple of shadow points. So now 7 and 5. It's definitely like getting a bit dicier, or it's definitely the closest I think she's been getting to
between stories.
Shadow overtaking.
I didn't want to do it there because it would have interrupted the flow of the narrative. But between stories, everyone's taking another dread test for watching Torodan get murdered by Amdir as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good fun. But yeah, okay, folks, let us know in comments and on the Discord or whatever if you really enjoy this, if you want to see more of it, because I want to play more of it or run more. I think these folks want to play more of it as well. What kind of format you want to see that in? Where we're talking about loads of things to do with the channel this year and what we do and what we don't do and things like that. So let your voice be known. Otherwise, we've got no fucking clue and we're just making it up as we go along. So yeah, thanks to my wonderful players. As always, thanks to you out there for watching. And we'll see you later on this week for Vaesen and Simbaroom, and next month for one-shots and all sorts of stuff. If anyone's interested, notionally, the one-shot for February is going to be Call of Cthulhu, run by Sam. Sam from who was in this game, who was a Hobbit. So it's going to be Hobbit Cthulhu. So yeah, enjoy that. Goodbye. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.